thank you for having me, and I'm super delighted to be here today talking to you all about secure cloud adoption. As Ron mentioned, I am a product leader at Cisco Cloud Security. And what I'd like to talk to you all about today is basically how we are fundamentally rethinking how we approach security and how we think about securing our remote workforce, given all the shifts that have happened in the past year. And what I'm specifically going to be focusing on today is a modern approach to security, where you look at consolidating multiple security services into a single platform, and all of the compelling, very appealing benefits that can offer your organization, including really rich and deep visibility into what your users are doing, regardless of where they're working, whether they're on site at a branch office or whether they're roaming, working from home or from an airport. Okay, so let's take a look at our journey forward for this last session of the day today. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about the threat landscape and share with you guys some fresh research around the top threats that are impacting the financial services sector. I know you're going to find this very, very interesting. And then from there, I'll get into a modern approach to security. So here I'm going to introduce the concept of Sassy and talk about why so many organizations are getting started with their Sassy journey and what specific benefits are prompting them to do so. From there, I will introduce Cisco Umbrella, which is the heart of Cisco's Sassy offer. And we'll wrap up by taking a look at a few real-life case studies of customers in the financial services sector who have adopted Umbrella and talk about the specific benefits that they have experienced. So before we dive in, I want to share with you guys a little bit more about myself. I am a Silicon Valley native, born and raised. I love working in the cybersecurity field. It's just so dynamic and there's always so much more to learn. And one of my favorite ways of keeping up with what's happening in the industry is listening to podcasts. And I wanted to share with you guys my personal favorite security podcast, and that is the CISO Security Vendor Relationship Podcast with Mike Johnson and David Sparks. If you haven't checked it out, highly recommend it. It's always fun and very educational. Okay, so let's start things off now by taking a look at top threats. So what I'm going to share with you are all insights gathered from our Umbrella research team and our own unique view of the internet and the massive volume of DNS requests that we process on a daily basis, over 622 billion requests daily. So our research team comes out with a threat landscape report on a semi-annual basis. So what I'm going to start with here on this slide is three major trends coming out of 2020. And the first is really around Trojans. So Trojans like Emotet, although they've been around for years, they are really getting a second life and being used and reused to evade traditional antivirus systems and to deliver new forms of malware delivery. And this is often case being done as part of an orchestrated, multi-stage evasive attacks that are really becoming a whole lot more prevalent across the threat landscape. The third one here, I'm sure, is not going to come as a surprise to all of you, but attackers are absolutely taking advantage of pandemic-related content to propagate attacks. And what our research team has seen since the start of the pandemic, February-March timeframe last year, is just a huge spike in the number of volume of domains that include COVID-related keywords that are definitely phishing. Okay, so now I want to share with you guys this super interesting visual that is going to give you insight into the top impacted verticals based on threat activity in 2021. And the financial services column is to the right here, as you can see. And so these are the top verticals being impacted by threats in the first half of the year. And what we're seeing is that, of course, financial services continues to be a hot target given the level of sensitive information that these organizations have access to. And what we're seeing in each of the individual threat categories is volume per month of that particular type of threat. So the key takeaway here is that recently the financial services sector cumulatively has been seeing anywhere between 30 to 50 million phishing queries per month. So phishing is definitely taking the lead in terms of the volume of threats there, followed by ransomware, which is a similar quantity per month, and then Trojans are about half that. We've seen significant slowdown for crypto mining pretty much across all sectors compared to 2020, with the exception of healthcare. It's definitely been exploding in the healthcare sector. Okay, so now that we've talked a little bit about the threat landscape, I want to talk about the evolution around cloud and our networks at a high level to set the stage for the rest of the discussion. And really what's key here is the fact that more of our networks are becoming decentralized. We've had this huge increase in remote work. We're continuing to see more and more apps moving to the cloud. This is really all prompting organizations to adopt newer technologies like DIA, direct internet access, as well as SD-WAN. And in the recent years, we're continuing to see, increase in adoption of these technologies. They offer a lot of great benefits that organizations, should be taking advantage of. What I want to stress here, though, is that it's really important as organizations take advantage of new technologies like SD-WAN, that they are keeping security top of mind and prioritizing security in their strategy as they roll out these new technologies, so that you continue to have visibility into what your users are doing, and that there's no gaps, given that folks are more likely to be working remotely or from branch locations. Obviously, you cannot rely on your traditional on-premise infrastructure. Okay, so when it comes to dealing with some of, or addressing some of the shifts that we've been seeing from a networking perspective and a cloud perspective, is leading IT and security teams to start looking for a new approach, a better approach to handle current challenges. And that's really where Sassy comes in. If you haven't heard of Sassy, it's a term that Gartner actually coined a couple years back. It's one of my favorite acronyms, and it stands for Secure Access Service Edge. And what Sassy essentially does is it unifies security, networking, even identity services into a single cloud-delivered platform to provide access and security from edge to edge. And when you think about, the benefits of Sassy and why organizations are getting started on a Sassy journey, there's a couple things that stand out. The first is simplified management. So this comes into play when you're taking multiple security services, for example, even SD-WAN, and when you have that in a single solution, it makes it a whole lot easier to roll out your policies in an efficient and scalable manner. Other great benefits of Sassy, organizations often get much better security protection. They're able to improve their network performance and overall just reduce their reliance on on-prem gear as they are shifting to the cloud. Okay, so now I want to introduce you guys to Cisco Umbrella. Cisco Umbrella is the heart of Cisco's Sassy strategy. And basically, Umbrella integrates multiple security services so that you can centrally manage protection for all of your various office locations and your remote workers. As you can see from the slide here, Umbrella includes, many different essential components of the security stack, including secure web gateway, a cloud-delivered firewall, CASB, as well as DNS layer security. And you may be wondering, what's the value in having these different security services consolidated? And the real value is the fact that it helps to reduce the time and the money and resources that were previously required for your deployment, configuration, and integration tasks. You may be wondering, what's new with Umbrella? For those of you who are familiar with this solution, what are your recent announcements? So I'm excited to share with all of you some of the recent news we had at the RSA conference a few weeks ago. We definitely made a few really exciting new feature announcements that are all tied to our commitment to Sassy and helping our customers unlock the power of Sassy. So in terms of the specific announcements, first was a new integration with the Meraki MX. So several of you may be Meraki customers today, and what's new about this integration is that we're making it super fast and automated for you to roll out cloud security with Umbrella onto your Meraki MX devices. We also announced deeper cloud firewall protection with a new intrusion protection system. And another key takeaway from our announcement at RSA was that we have added protection for high-risk destinations and users with our new remote browser isolation capability. What a lot of Umbrella customers love about this solution is that they can start with DNS layer security as a super effective quick win, and then roll out additional capabilities from our portfolio as they need deeper controls and more granular controls. The reason why DNS is such a great place to start is it literally takes just a few minutes to deploy. And within a few minutes, you can have all your roaming users, all your users and locations protected and instantly start blocking threats such as phishing, crypto mining, malware, all across your network. Okay, so now I'm going to dive into a few specific examples of our customers that have rolled out Umbrella, so you can hear what prompted them to take a look at this solution and what results they saw. So let's start with Farm Credit. Farm Credit Mid-America, they provide loans and crop insurance to farmers, and they also provide home loans. They have 1,300 employees across 80 retail locations. And the main focus area for Farm Credit, one thing that's really important to their strategy is protecting customer data. It's a top priority for them. And what they were really looking for was the ability to protect their mobile workforce from threats on the internet. This was absolutely accelerated because of COVID. Beyond that, they also wanted a solution that had multiple security capabilities and that could help them to block threats earlier in the attack lifecycle. So once they rolled out Umbrella, they saw a number of really awesome benefits that I've summarized on the slide here in the bottom left. But they were able to block threats earlier in the attack life cycle using the DNS layer security, and were able to block attacks at that earliest possible point before they got onto their network. They also saw a huge increase in security blocks across the threat categories. So it's over 799% increase in security blocks. And then finally, what they really loved about Umbrella was how quickly they were able to scale protection across their entire network, which was absolutely essential for them during COVID. Okay, so let's take a look at one more example, Access Financial. So this is a financial lending industry leader. They're also distributed with over 1,000 locations across the US. And according to Tony, their director of IT security, what prompted their search for a new solution was an uptick in spear phishing attempts. And that really prompted them to want to strengthen their security infrastructure. And what Tony said was that they are an especially attractive target for attacks because their primary focus is on consumer lending, and they handle sensitive credit card data as well as other personally identifiable information. So his main desire was to move beyond reacting to malware and to shift to really being proactive. And they were also looking for a new proxy solution. So they ended up adopting Umbrella, and in terms of the feedback we heard, specifically from Tony, he said it was one of the fastest implementations of a security tool that he'd ever seen. They were able to instantly block malware and phishing attempts, and saw an immediate impact in terms of their ability to significantly drop the number of threats that were coming into their network, and also really reduce the amount of time that it took to remediate attacks. The last one I have for you guys today is Deutsche Bank. So they are a multinational investment bank with over 100,000 employees. And what was really a key driver for them, they had a new defense in depth initiative that was coming out of their CISO office. And that's what led them to look at DNS solutions. And similar to Access Financial, they really wanted to make the shift from being manual and reactive to being more proactive. And that's what Umbrella helped them to do. And what I want to highlight about their deployment that was very interesting, that they just really, really loved about Umbrella, was that they had the ability to get visibility into, the specific volume of threats that were being blocked across their network, or not even blocked, but detected across their network, and which users were being impacted by those various threats. And what they actually did was they just monitored that activity for several weeks and had their security teams analyzing that and looking at Umbrella's algorithms before they decided to actually start using Umbrella's blocking capability. And this is something that really, really stood out to them. And what they did was they, once they were ready for the enforcement and the blocking capability, they started rolling it out one region at a time. So the key takeaway here is they found the ability to essentially take baby steps super helpful. And similar to other organizations, within a month of blocking, they saw tremendous value in Umbrella's modeling and algorithms, and our overall ability to block threats. Okay, so that wraps up the case studies. And in closing, I wanted to share with you guys that an independent research firm, AV Test, placed Umbrella first in threat detection, and also highlight that our strength and our security efficacy is also one of the main reasons why our customers often choose Umbrella. We have a detailed report available on our website if you're interested in taking a look. I just wanted to highlight here that compared to a number of other secure web gateway vendors, according to AV Test, we were ranked a leader in security efficacy and significantly outperformed the competition. Okay, so this brings us to next steps. I want to encourage all of you to take advantage of the free trial that we have available for all of you. We have a 2-week free trial, so you can get started using Umbrella DNS Layer Security and try it out yourself and see what you think. It's just literally 3 easy steps to sign up. It can be done in minutes, and then we'll be able to start giving you visibility into all of the threat activity across your organization and start blocking requests in real time. So I'll put these links in the chat for all of you. I want to thank you all for sticking around for this final session. I hope you found it valuable and learned a couple new things about securing your cloud adoption.